tonight, a roadmap to reconciliation created by indigenous advocates, and a CBS marathon gets its goat. We meet Joshua, the runaway runner.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Here and Now as CBC marks Canada's 4th National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. We begin with a report from Heather Gillis in St. John's, where First Light organized a rally today. The group acknowledges some steps have been taken to advance reconciliation with Canada's Indigenous peoples, but it's also flagging gaps that still exist across education, employment, and housing.
Today is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, a day to honor survivors of Canada's residential school system and to remember the 6,000 children who never returned home and to the families and communities that were forever changed. Emma Relis is a survivor.
Never thought that I would be up here standing in front of a microphone as a residential school survivor, because I was told I would end up to be nothing and a nobody.
About 200 turned out, clad in orange, for First Light's Rally for Reconciliation in St. John's. Organizers want action, like stronger oversight of policing, recruitment initiatives for jobs in fields like health, law, education, and engineering, and changes to the K-12 curriculum.
So that it reflects Indigenous histories, cultures, stories, and languages, as well as a discussion of colonialism and legacy in this province.
The last residential school in the province was closed in 1980. Decades later, Stephanie Brandt says she's still seeing discrimination in the system.
My son's guidance counselor told my son not to apply for scholarships as he had access to free education because of his indigeneity.
Meanwhile, Stacey House, First Light CEO, wants more support for the often forgotten urban Indigenous community.
My experience growing up in Conn River, Mi'kmaq First Nation on the reserve, is quite different than my experience when I moved away, attended university, just navigating the different challenges that exist here in the city. And now I have my own children that are growing up here. And so their challenges and what they experience is going to look quite different as well.
It's estimated that about 150,000 children in this country were forced to attend residential schools. In Labrador, there were schools in Nain, Makkovik, Northwest River, and Cartwright, another in St. Anthony. The Premier calls it a dark chapter in our history, saying today it's time to listen and learn. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, First Light has outlined 42 calls for change, spanning from public policy to public spaces and transportation support. All are listed on the First Light website, which is interactive and updated as those goals are met. You can also see where it says supports and services continue to fall short. And continuing our coverage, this is Jenny Brake's first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation as acting chief of the Halibut First Nation. She says part of moving forward involves government acknowledgement.
Being chief on a day like the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation is not one that I take lightly. There's so much responsibility to educate our communities and to support them on a day that brings about a lot of pain and a lot of memories for a lot of folks. You know, the calls to action has brought this forward, and in the past we didn't have days to reflect. We didn't have government acknowledging the past. Now that we're doing that, I see that this is a step in the right direction. I mean, we have to acknowledge what happened. There's a dark history here in Canada, or what we call Canada now, and I think that in order for us to move forward, and I believe that the government has come to realize that they have to make amends for the past. We can't change what happened, but we can learn from it and we can move forward in a good way. So I see the difference of folks being able to come out and be proud of who they are and celebrate who they are, and that was not the way most of us grew up. So I really look forward to those changes.
Well, Jordan's principal offers support to First Nations children across the country, from medical needs to assistance with education. A team was in Gull Island recently at the Manisha Nui Gathering. The week-long event is a time for Innu communities to come together and reconnect with a more traditional way of life.
Hi, I'm Deanne Welsh. I'm with Jordan's principal. Today we're here at the gathering putting on some activities for kids, which is what Jordan's principal services. And we're just doing some rock painting and coloring, and we're going to do some scavenger hunts later on. We just wanted to come here to get the kids involved and promote Jordan's Principle, of course, which services children to help them get services that they need. So basically we can do anything from hearing screenings to assessments to things that are harder for them to access through the regular healthcare system due to overcrowded wait lists and things like that. So Jordan's Principle can help service First Nations children to get those services faster. This is our first day up here today. We are back tomorrow. We're planning on doing a scavenger hunt with the kids. We want them to be able to draw a picture of what the gathering means to them from a cultural perspective. But it's going great. We've got a great turnout here this morning. The kids seem to be having fun, so we're happy.
Well, there was a national ceremony in Ottawa today to honor those who suffered in Canada's residential schools and those who never returned home.
We honor the resilience of survivors who continue to bravely share their stories so that we may learn. In their stories, there is unspeakable pain, but there is also tremendous courage and determination to emerge into healing and light.
Governor General Mary Simon joined survivors and Indigenous leaders on Parliament Hill after leading a sacred fire ceremony at Rideau Hall. Events and ceremonies are happening right across the country, celebrating the achievements of Indigenous people, with the Prime Minister taking part in events in the Northwest Territories. And a reminder for those needing help or support, the Indian Residential School Crisis Line can be reached 24 hours a day. The number is there on your screen, 1-866-925-4419.
It's true that every child matters and every child is treated with the love and respect and kindness and compassion that they need to grow and thrive so that our communities can grow and thrive. Wichita, do ya, Wichita, do ya, day.
Well, this is how a local forest school marked Orange Shirt Day yesterday with an Indigenous water song and a child-friendly conversation about residential schools. Cloudberry held the event near the O'Brien Farm in St. John's. It featured songs, drumming, and smudging. Well, for the first time, St. John's played host to the 3rd annual Disc Golf Championships with a new course in the capital city. Organizers brought the provincials east this weekend, and as you're about to hear, they'd love to see the sport become even more mainstream.
It is, a very active sport elsewhere in Canada and the world, in the U.S. There's a major disc golf community in Scandinavia, and I just think the thing you need for disc golf is beautiful nature and ample space, and that's something that this province has in spades. So it just seems like a perfect fit.
The amount of people playing both in St. John's and in the West Coast, Stephenville and Corner Brook, is disproportionately high for a community that has only had disc golf for 3 years. Will it continue to grow? I mean, we certainly hope so, but now we'll enter the next phase of the game, which is a lot of public campaigning, trying to convince people to come out and try it, and that it's not this weird, odd thing, and it's something that everyone can do. And my goal, I've always stated, is to make disc golf like tennis. It's not that everybody plays tennis, but everybody knows what tennis is. There's probably a tennis racket in your house somewhere. There's a tennis court virtually in every town. So there's no reason why we can't have a 9-hole disc golf course, and it's something that people do occasionally, once a year, once every 6 months, or once a day.
Here you go, buddy.
Well, he may not be the greatest of all time, but he is the GOAT. This is Joshua, and he stole the show at the CBS Half Marathon on the weekend. We'll tell you what happened coming up.
Unsettled and breezy yet again across the island tonight into Tuesday. High pressure dominating through Labrador. We'll break it down with your full forecast details coming up. Time for a look at your forecast. Ryan Snodden in for Ashley this evening, and let's start with the highs today. We did creep into the mid-teens for much of the island, and Labrador, pretty nice as well. Temperatures 13 in Lab City, 12 Churchill Falls, 14 in Nain, 11 in Makkovik, the high today. And yeah, you can see Labrador definitely the brighter of on the brighter side of the scale, no doubt about that, as the area of high pressure dominates, and this unsettled frontal boundary that's been parked across the island today, that's been keeping things certainly unsettled with the clouds and showers that have been off and on throughout the day. And yeah, it's been a damp and obviously unsettled day, and that's going to continue as this frontal boundary kind of remains parked here over the next 24 to 36 hours before it finally wanders eastward, gets grabbed up by that low, which is spinning off to our east. So let's run you through tonight's forecast, and you can see temperatures under this area of high pressure certainly going to be cool across Labrador, dipping into the 2 to 5 range for most of Labrador. Just a chance of showers for the Strait, and then down towards the northern peninsula. And in that northerly flow, we're certainly going to be seeing the chance for scattered showers to continue overnight tonight. Should be close to the double-digit mark in St. John's and along parts of the coast, but most of us into the high single digits to start Tuesday morning. So note that trough and that frontal boundary, which basically remains stalled there into Tuesday morning. High pressure continuing to dominate across Labrador on Tuesday. Note the west side of the island starting to dry out under the influence of this high pressure area. So we will see some sunshine breaking through the northern peninsula down towards Corner Brook and for Port aux Basques as well. Even down towards the Burin Peninsula should see at least some breaks of sunshine. Definitely into the afternoon, that's looking like a better chance. Those northeast winds, 20, 30, gusting 40, 50 kilometers per hour, St. John's up to Bonavista, and then up towards St. Anthony as well. And then those winds gusting towards 40 back into the south and west of the province. Now you can see temperatures will be cooler tomorrow in that northeast flow. 12, 11 degrees is about as warm as it will get. And yeah, highs of just 5 to 6 degrees Nain back towards Makkovik, but most of Labrador looking pretty nice indeed. So walking you through your timeline. So that frontal boundary fades away as we move into Wednesday, still unsettled in this northerly flow, which will be continued breezy across eastern parts of Newfoundland on Wednesday. You can see the west really clearing out nicely into Wednesday afternoon for the northern peninsula, Corner Brook down towards Port aux Basques, and Happy Valley Goose Bay looking good as well. Chance of a shower moving back into Labrador City with looks like a late day risk there. So building clouds throughout the day with temperatures near 17 degrees. And yeah, the west coast certainly brighter, no doubt, than the east on Wednesday. And then for Thursday, yeah, that low kind of spinning away, and we'll see a better day overall for the island. Temperatures still cool though. 10, 12 degrees is about all as warm as we'll get for St. John's in the east on Thursday, warming back up to the teens Friday and into Saturday. Now for central parts of the island, we're looking at, again, a damp day Tuesday, starting to dry out on Wednesday, maybe a shower still in the mix for Gander back towards Bonavista. And you can see for Thursday, Friday looking pretty good. Showers edging back in on Saturday. The west coast looking pretty good, though. Be mindful that there is a slight risk of a shower, especially as we work inland towards, say, Deer Lake and the Humber Valley on Tuesday and towards the Baysville Peninsula. Nice forecast for eastern Labrador. Chance of showers moving back in for Friday. And for western Labrador, showers back in the mix for Thursday and into the weekend. That is your forecast to now.
One of the runners in the CBS Trailway Trek Marathon on the weekend was the GOAT. Not the greatest of all time, but an actual goat. And his name is Joshua. And his owner, Jeremy Taylor, joins me now. So, Jeremy, I see that Joshua here is wearing his medal. Tell us what happened on the weekend. How did Joshua get involved in that race?
So we live right by the trail, and this is where the runners came by approximately around 9 a.m. Sunday morning. And we didn't realize, but when the runners went by and the large group of over 200, he decided to break his collar, which he's had on for years, right? And join the runners. And we found out from social media a few minutes later that he was after going about 2 kilometers, and he was stopped around the water station, one of the water stations where the runners would take a quick break. And so we kind of jumped in motion. So I went to check to make sure it was our goat, and the leash was there, the rope was there, but everything was gone except the goat.
So you found out that he was gone through social media and all the pictures?
Yeah, all the pictures, everything lit up, and all the runners were posting pictures. So we went along and stopped at the last spot. He was spotted, but they said they tried to hold on to him, but he was determined to keep running. So we went a little further along, and then actually one of the crossings, they said he just passed by here, so we checked the next crossing, and yeah, so as we went around, and we came to a crossing down by Villanova Plaza. They had him stopped there, the RNC, and they were keeping hold of him, so we got him back then. So
what do you think happened? Was he just so excited when he saw all the people running that he just wanted to go run with everyone?
I think he's been our family pet for 10 years, and he knows it's pumpkin time. He sees all the pumpkins, and he's used to large groups of people, and he really gets involved. And when he's seeing the crowd running, he decided to join in, not really knowing this is one of the longest runs he've ever had. We take him on short walks, but now he's used to being off leash. He doesn't go very far. And I'd say, anyway, so they held on to him for a while, trying to hold him back from joining the race, and we got him in the back of our truck, in a closed-in truck, and we decided to take him down to the finish line. And we couldn't get all the way, so we walked about half a kilometer, and he crossed the finish line. They gave him their medal, and the rest is it's gone crazy. It's gone all over. Everybody's calling from everywhere about it. It was great bit of fun.
I was speaking with some of the runners in the race, and they said that Joshua was excellent motivation for them to keep going.
They some said they kept up the pace, and at one point in time it seemed like he got a little tired, so they slowed down, a group of runners around him, so just to give him a break. And anyway, then he as soon as some runners passed him, he took off running again, so they picked up the pace and joined them again.
So what do you think about all of this attention?
I think it's with so much things happening in the world, I think it's a nice light-hearted story. Everybody's jumping on, and it's just a good fun. It's just nice, and he's great with people. So everybody, like even at the finish line, everybody was there. They were all proud to finish the race, but he took hundreds of pictures at the finish line. Everybody wanted to have a picture with the goat and stuff, and even they handed out awards. I didn't realize, but they asked us could we step over by the awards table because the goat was getting all the attention, and they wanted to have the mayor and all the councillors there to pass out the awards.
Right.
So we walked over close to the awards table, and all the crowd followed, and then they passed out the awards, and he was stood up proud supporting his medal.
Now, what about next year? Do you think he's going to be asked to come back and do the race?
Well, he's getting older, but I would definitely involve him to keep him part of it. I don't know if he'll do the whole race, but I would definitely encourage any sport. Like coming up this weekend now, there's the start of the hockey season at the stadium, and somebody called for the CBS Renegades, could we drop the puck for the opening ceremony of the tournament? I said sure, a great bit of fun. So I'm going to bring him up to CBS Stadium Saturday night, and he's going to drop the opening puck of the game. Yeah.
Fantastic. Joshua, you're famous. You're famous. All right, Jeremy, that's wonderful. Like you say, such a lovely story. A bit of fun.
It is a bit of fun.
Yeah, love it. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, and obviously he's great with people. He loves attention. So I think
cheesies.
Yeah, and cheesy. Cheesy's favorite, and popcorn. I guess we'll have lots of regulars come and see him every year because we're going to open the pumpkin patch this weekend. So you'll see lots of people coming. And I think we had a group booked for Sunday, a tour booked for Sunday. And they said their numbers are starting to drop off. The kids are getting older, and right. Anyway, we had a call this morning, and she said it's gone crazy. She said everybody wants to come now, so their numbers are gone from 100 over 200, close to 300. They're going to wonder about crowd control and controlling the traffic and stuff. So everybody wants to come and see the goat.
So this might be a little bit of a business boost for you too.
It's all good. It's all business boost, and it's all good. And he loves the attention, so it's great.
All right, Jeremy Taylor, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, bye. Thank you.
Org.
Forgiveness, education, hope. That's what reconciliation means for Noel Joe. He says you have to put in the effort every day. The documentary filmmaker from Meowpukek First Nation spoke about that with CBC Radio's Amanda Gear.
It means a lot of things. It means forgiveness. It means connecting, sharing. It means healing. It's funny because I haven't, growing up, I didn't hear the words reconciliation like it is today. It wasn't on people's minds as it is now. And now as we move through it and work through it together, that's what it means to me. It means forgiveness. It means telling our stories and sharing our stories, and it means listening. It means hope and inspiration. All those things wrapped up in one big word. Yeah. So, yeah.
And how do you, both personally and professionally, how do you put reconciliation and truth into action?
Well, when we just live it. I just live it every day, and okay, well, continue to tell the stories, continue to share who we are, and I've been a part of so many wonderful things, and it was all about sharing. It was all about, there was a teaching moment in having those teaching moments there, and it was learning a little bit of language, Giskajij, learning a little bit, and if somebody's having trouble saying a Mi'kmaq word that it's helping them with that word and teaching it to people all over, sharing our story. That is, I think, reconciliation in action. It's just an everyday thing. Mm-hmm. It's not a one day. It's not a one-day thing. It's not, it's 365 days a year.
Well, thank you so much for spending part of your evening with us on this National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. We'll return to our normal time slot tomorrow, 6 o'clock on the island, a half hour earlier in most parts of Labrador. Ashley will be back as well. Hope to see you then. Good night.